Hey, this is Avery Cook with the Utah Division of Wildlife. If you participated in the Chukar Partridge monitoring program in previous years, it's going to be a little bit different this year. If not, just hang on and watch the video here. Colorado Parks and Wildlife provided their photo warehouse photo cataloging system to us, so we're adopting it this year. It better documents other species besides just chukars and does a better overall job of capturing what we're looking at in these photos. So this video is going to be broken into two pieces. The first half of the video is going to be some basics on identifying chukars, telling juveniles from adults, and then the second part of the video is going to be presented by William Phelps on actually using the photo warehouse system to catalog those photos. If you have any questions, feel free to contact chukar@utah.gov via email, or contact Heather Talley, who is the Upland Game Coordinator for Utah, and her contact information is up on the screen here now.
So I'll start with a little background on what this project is and why we're doing it, and kind of an overview of the process, and then I'll go through the whole process in a little bit more detail. So previous to about 3 years ago, the Division of Wildlife flew 2 chukar helicopter surveys a year in the Cedar Mountains and the south end of the Grouse Creek Mountains around Chukar Knolls area to survey and get an annual index of chukar populations. But that helicopter flight index was good, and it got us a year-to-year change, but it was limited in geographic scope, so just kind of that northwest portion of Utah. And it also didn't give us annual production, so you can really only tell if it's a chukar or not from the air. It's pretty hard to discern if it's a chick versus an adult. So about 3 years ago, we transitioned over to a camera survey method where we put game cameras on water sources throughout the state. Right now, we've got about 45 cameras out. And with that, we can get both the year-to-year change in attendance at the water sources, but one of the main advantages is we can get chick-adult ratios. So get an idea of that year's production, and get both a long-term population index on that, how the populations are changing, and also a shorter-term outlook that gives a reasonable prediction of what the coming chukar season is going to be like in the state. So what I'm doing here is asking you, all as volunteers, to help with this project in reviewing those photos. So looking through the photos, seeing if there's chukars in the photos first off, and then counting the number of chicks and adults throughout the day. So with a little bit on identification of what we're looking at. So chukar partridge is a desert adapted bird that lives on most of the desert ranges on the western portion of the state, and some areas in other parts of the state as well. So they're pretty distinctive. The adults have that kind of zebra stripe barring on their sides, and then they've got this belly band up around their neck to the eye stripe, and a red bill. So there's really no other kind of chicken-looking birds that will commonly be at these guzzlers. So these will be one of the most common birds that you'll see in the photos, and they're also pretty much the only gallinaceous game bird you'll see. So chicken-like game bird that'll be at these guzzlers. So you've got the adult with kind of that distinct barring on the side, blue-gray head, a little bit of a reddish wings and red feet. The chicks are basically a smaller, drabber version. As they grow, they start with a little patch of black right in the center of their neck there, above their chest, and as they grow older, that ends up connecting to the eye stripe on their head. And then as they get older too, they get more and more of that distinct barring instead of that more camouflaged plumage. Just to give you an idea of how their appearance changes as they grow. When they first hatch out, They look just like a little yellow chicken chick, except they're brown. By the time we put the cameras out, there are very few chicks that are that young. That's pretty unusual. Usually they're more in this kind of 8 to 12 week age class where you've got a pretty distinct neck patch and you've got a fairly distinct eye band, but they haven't kind of connected yet. But they will generally be with adults too that have that distinctive barring. And they'll also, again, it's one of the only kind of chicken-like birds you'll see out there, game birds. And then we'll just kind of go through a few examples of photos that look like what you might see. So here's just one example with 2 adult chukars leaving a guzzler. You can see that kind of contrasted to these birds here. You've got a couple adults in the lower center of the frame here, and then the rest of these are about 6-week-old chukars. And I'm not asking you to identify the birds to age in the photos, but just kind of going through the different ages a little bit to give you an idea of what you're looking for as far as chicks and adults in the photos. Here's another example of that same photo separated by a few seconds. So oftentimes they'll be standing in front of one another in the photo, and it can be hard to count. But often if you go through those 3 photos that shoot in a series, you'll be able to see a little movement and see behind them. So basically just make your best count of what you can see there, but you don't have to spend tons and tons of time trying to figure out exactly what's standing behind another one. Usually I'll just start by going and counting the heads. Like on this one, you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 adults. But if you go back, you can see like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, again, 7, 8 chicks in that photo and 2 adults. Kind of just another example. These ones are probably about 7 weeks old. Standing on guzzler here. They've got kind of got the eye stripe, and they've starting to get that belly patch, but hasn't connected, and they're still fairly drab. You can kind of see the zebra striping starting to come out on the sides. They're pretty indistinct. Here's another example with some older chicks. These ones are probably about 13 weeks old with some adults in here. So you got 1 adult, 2 adult, and a bunch of chicks in here. If you zoom in a little bit, you can again see they've got this eye stripe, but it's a little bit browner and drabber compared to the real dark black of the adults. And it's also not connecting through. As they get older and older, they get harder to tell. But this is about as old as chicks as you'll probably be seeing this year. While you're going through the photos, if you do have any questions, feel free to email me with the photo that you're looking at, and I can help you figure out what's in there. Or if you're just going through, you can also just note it on your data sheet that you weren't quite clear on that, and I can go look at it after you turn it in.
Put it in front of Bungie.
Here's another example where they can be a little hard to see, but they do kind of pop out as you go through the different frames of the photo. So in this one, there are some birds on the right, a little hard to see, but as you kind of change photos, it pops out that there's a change there, so you can see kind of the 1 adult, 2 adults in there. I have another example of a less clear photo, but you've got 2 adults in this one. You've got a fairly obvious one here at the bottom left, and then you've got another one with its head just poking in the frame. Oftentimes you'll be able to advance to the next photo to get a little bit better idea of it. But if you can identify it as a chukar, even if it's not fully in the frame, please do count it. If you can't tell what it is, you don't have to count it. And this doesn't have to be, should be as kind of as good as you can get it, but if it's not exact, it's not critical, because this is kind of an exercise of averages. So we're looking at how many birds come into the water over a couple of weeks, and then we kind of regionally lump that data too. So just a couple other species of note that I would like you to look for going through these photos. One is a pinion jay. So if basically a larger songbird that's kind of a gray, blue, drab color. They've got relatively long black bills. There's not a lot of other birds that will be coming into the guzzlers that look like these. They're also not fairly common, so you probably won't be seeing a ton of them, and you will definitely not be seeing them in every photo set. But if you do see them, if you could note them on that bottom portion of the data sheet, be much appreciated. We've also got golden eagles, and there's some monitoring work going on with banded golden eagles. So if you do see a golden eagle, if you can take a close look and see if you can see a band on their legs, and if you do see a band on their legs, please note that in the data sheet with the individual photo number so we can go and pull that out. Just a few examples of what you could possibly see if you see an eagle. Most of them will not have bands, but hopefully we do see a few with them. At the end of the project and throughout, if you could keep track of your hours, we'll just be crediting exact hours that you work on the project. So just put the date each time you're working on the project, a start time and an end time, and the total hours in there. You can also include a half hour for the training today.
Hello and welcome to the 2023 Utah Chukar Partridge Population Monitoring Program. I would like to start off by saying thank you for assisting us in this program. Volunteer hours are one of the major ways that we get things done in this program, and we can't thank you enough. And I would also like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Will Phelps. I'm an information technician down on the front counter at the DWR's main office off North Temple and Redwood in Salt Lake City. I am not a biologist at the DWR, but Heather Talley was nice enough to allow me to help with this project to gain more experience in a biologist's fields and field work. So I promise this training video is not going to be too lengthy, and it's not going to be unbearable. To start off, this is the instruction sheet that you will be receiving in the file that you are emailed. And at this point in time, I'm not 100% sure if we are going to email you this video that you're actually currently watching, or if it's just going to show up in your file. I know it's going to show up in the file for sure so that you can reference it if you get stuck on something or if you need to go back. Of course, you can always email the Chukar email, and I'll answer as fast as I can. I've been the one who's answering emails just to help lighten the load for Heather. So if you have questions, you can always email that Chukar email, and we'll try and get back to you as quickly as we can. But this video should be a good reference because this really isn't too complicated. It may seem really complicated. I promise you it's not. So this is the instruction sheet that you will receive. It's fairly straightforward. You don't need any fancy equipment, no fancy computer skills or anything like that. This is all basic knowledge of computers. So if you have that, you should be fine. So this training, prior to starting the work on the project, you'll have to watch this video that you're currently watching. So you already got step 1 down. So you're doing great so far. So then after we've received all of our trail cameras back and we've received our photos and we've put them into modules for you guys and we've separated them and sorted them, we will send you an email with an invitation to or a shared drive within Google Drive. So I'll show you what that looks like. If I go to my personal email here, I just emailed it. It should say William Phelps shared with you. Mine is just ANT2_test because that's the that's the name of the folder that I'm using. And right here, you should be able to open it, or you can click on the blue open button. Either or will work. So if you open it, this is what it's gonna look like. Actually, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be one big folder. There's going to be a completed modules folder, or the name of your camera in here, and the volunteer instruction sheet, and the video should be right below it. Obviously, the video is not there yet because I'm not done making the video. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to open your camera file. And within the camera file, you can just double click on it, will be the photos, and there will be all the files for your photos. So if you just click on this ANT test 2, it'll take you back. And here's the actual application or the module that you'll be using. So to download it, what you'll want to do is just click on this little arrow on the ANT test 2, or again, the name of your camera, and you'll just click on download. And you'll notice down here it says preparing download, and it's zipping one file. So don't touch that, just let it do its thing. It's usually really pretty fast, and then it'll automatically download. So now if we go back to the file explorer down here, it should be on your, this is called your taskbar. It should be on your taskbar right here. If not, you should be able to find it on your desktop. If it's not on your desktop, you can always come down here to search and just type file, and it should be File Explorer. So however you decide to open that up is up to you, but then you should have something that looks like this. And what we'll want to do before we open that file is go to somewhere in your computer, wherever you know where you can find it, in your desktop, in a hard drive, wherever you can find it, and just create a file that is empty. So you'll want to create a new file that's empty. This one is just called test 2 because I've been doing quite a few tests on how to open this and the best way to open this. So that is very important. So you want to make sure you have that new file. And if you don't know how to create a new file, if you just come into somewhere where you want to create your file, you should be able to click this little yellow file icon that says new folder. And if you click on it, for this sake, we'll do video test. And just click on it once or click away from it, and it'll create a new folder that is empty. So if we go back to the passport, or that's just the file name, if we go back to where you created it, it'll be right there. Now what you'll want to do is you'll want to navigate to your downloads, whether that be right here, or if you come up here under quick access, it'll be right here under downloads. It's all the same place. And you should see that file was downloaded right there, and that'll have a little zipper on it. That means it's a zip file. So what you'll want to do is right click on it, and you should see this box pop up. You should see something that says extract all. You want to click on that, and it'll pull up a thing that says select a destination and extract files. Click on browse, and then you'll go down and navigate to find that new folder that we made. So in this case, it's just right here on the side for me. It's easy. It's that video test, and you should see where it says folder, and then mine says video test, whichever name you decide to name it. And that's all you have to do, and select and click select folder. And that should appear there. And then you want to click on show extracted files when complete. This will just open up the file for you when you're done, or when this is done, and you'll just click extract. Won't take more than probably a couple minutes, depending on how many photos you get. And here we'll see the actual file that we downloaded. And here's the ANT2_test. Again, that's my camera name. So here's that. If we open it, we should see the photos and the photo ID software, and a different icon will show up. So now's the fun part. We get to start IDing photos. So if you click on this, and funny enough, I actually don't have access on my computer. So this has been working just fine. So I tried it a couple times before I started making the video, so hopefully it works. But if you get this Microsoft Access security notice, it's not a threat. Just go ahead and open it. And then what you'll do is your name won't be here, so you can just type your name. Instead of typing John Doe, because I already have it in here, we'll type, excuse me, Joe Don, and click go. And the name you entered is not in the observers list. You want to add it. You'll click yes. And then it says new data has been added to the form. Just click OK. And here you are. Your initials can be whatever you want. We'll just have JXD on there still. And type, you'll just put role, you'll just put volunteer. And from there, you can add you'll have to add your phone number. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And then when you're all done, you should be able to click the X, and there your name should show up, and click go. And then the files should appear. If the photos did not appear, one thing that you have to make sure that the photos folder and this photo ID application are in the same folder. Otherwise, your photos will not appear. Again, if you're having issues with this, feel free to email us, and we'll try and get back to you as quick as we can. Maybe we need to just re-add the photos to the file and have you re-download it or something like that. But hopefully it should go smoothly. So if you did everything correctly, you should be here. So now there's 12 photos to identify. I'm only going to do a couple. I'm not going to do all 12. Maybe I will, actually, depending on how long I'm talking for. So all you have to do is take a quick glance at the photos, see that both of these, this is an adult chukar. I believe this is an adult chukar as well. So down here at the species list, you can either start typing CHUK and then hit the tab button and it'll automatically add the chukar, or you can click this down arrow right here, and every species that we've seen pop up on our trail cameras will be in here, and you'll just have to find chukar. They are alphabetical, so it should be easy to find. You'll just have to click on chukar and do that. And then in the detail, you'll go ahead and click this down arrow again, or type, and click adult. Or again, if you want to just type, you can click A and it should automatically fill in. Press the tab button. And then in the individuals, you'll just type 2. If the 1 is still there, you can just go ahead and click next to it. Click the backspace button and click 2. And all you have to do is hit next. And then if you want to go check your work, you can. But if you want to go back to previous, your work is automatically saved. Click next. And then again, species, chukar, detail, adult, individual, 2. Click next. Same 2. Chukar, adult, 2. Next. Same 2 again. Chukar, adult, 2. And this is what you're going to be doing for all of your photos. I think I threw a couple in here that don't have chukars on them. But if you come across, it happens quite a lot where the camera will take a picture and there will be nothing there. You'll just go ahead and you should be able to find none. And you'll just put none and leave that. Individuals, you don't have to change that or anything, and then just press next. Obviously, there's a chukar right there, so we'll want to put chukar, adult, and it looks like there's just 1 in that picture. So next, again, same adult chukar, adult, 1, next. And so see, it's barely on the camera right there. So it still counts, it's in the photo. Partial, if you can identify what that is, which is it is a chukar, then you'll still want to put that. So chukar, Click next. Again, there's one right there. Sometimes if you just quickly glance at it, you won't see it. So if you don't see anything initially, just start looking hard, because sometimes they'll just be, you know, kind of on the side here or blending in with these rocks. They blend in pretty well with their habitat. So go ahead and Chukar adult. And then again, it's in there. Chukar adult 1. Next. And then standing right there. Don't see any more in here. If you accidentally click the screen there, it's just an orange box to kind of highlight something. Just click it again and it'll go away. And if you leave it there, it's not a big deal. Not chipmunk. Okay, not cottontail either. Chukar. Adult 1. Next. And this is the last photo. So Chukar. Adult 1. And then you won't be able to click next anymore. So if you just click off this, or oops, messed up here. I'll open that photo. So you should just be able to do that. When you get to the end, there will not be an option for you to click next, and all your work from the previous photos will be saved. So what you'll do now is just close out of the application. I would just hit this big red X up here, and then it'll bring you back to your folder. And what you'll want to do is go back to the folder where this is. And if you want to check to see if you know your work is saved, which I promise you it was, you can go ahead and click Joe Doe. Don't mind all these. These were just tests. And your work will be right there. So it does automatically save. And so now comes the other easy part, is you'll just want to come back to the Google Drive and go back to that original folder, go out of the camera folder, and open the completed modules folder. And notice how it says drop files here, or use the new button. This is empty. So you have a couple options here. Let's see. So the best way is if you just open the File Explorer and kind of move it to the side by clicking and holding and dragging. And if you just click on it and hold it, and that way you could drag it, and it'll say copy on the screen there. And if you just release over here and give it a minute to upload, it'll automatically upload there. And that is actually all you need to do. So once we can see when these are updated, we can see when it was last modified, who put the file in there. So we can see that it was me at 7:54 p.m. and it is now 7:56. So yeah, that is all that you guys need to do. So if we go back to the instructions here, again, this is reading. If you're not much of a visual learner, you can go ahead and read this here. I will have the training video linked right here, but again, I will include it in all of the files just because I think it will be a lot easier, or at least I'm going to try to add it to all the files that we send you guys, because I think it will be a lot easier to just have the video right there. Again, here's pictures of everything that we kind of went over, adding new observers, photo review process, and then the returning the data to DWR. And then lastly, after you upload that final file to the Chukar hard drive, just go ahead and send us an email and just say that you completed your module and that you uploaded the module to the file, or the folder, excuse me. And if we have any issues retrieving it, we'll let you know, but we should be good to go. So that is going to conclude the video presentation, or the video walkthrough. Again, you can count this time you took to towards the hours on this project. But I just want to say again, thank you guys so much for helping us out on this. It's always a big help. Volunteers are a big part of the Dedicated Hunter program. Again, that's why we created it. It's always a big help when we get avid outdoorsmen and women to help us out. So again, thank you very much. And if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, or anything like that, you can go ahead and shoot us an email at chucker@utah.gov, and we'll go ahead and get back to you. Again, my name's Will. I do work down at the front counter, so if you're ever in, stop and say hey. But yeah, we will see you guys later. Thanks again.